Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I'm Ellen and I love to talk about books, so if you like to hear people talk about books, I would strongly recommend that you would subscribe to my channel. First of all, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm renovating my room. So the background is kind of annoying and super ugly. I think that we should just forget about this because it doesn't matter right now. As you can hear, I'm also kind of sick. We'll just have to see how fun this video is because I sound like someone who smoked for like 80 years and then their voice just progressed with that. So in this video we're going to do a my reading wrap up of 2023, and I've done a PowerPoint and the hours I've been sitting with YouTube watching tutorials, how to make an aesthetic PowerPoint, how to make a fun PowerPoint, because I had no idea. And now I'm kind of proud of this masterpiece. So, my reading wrap up. I've read a total of 103 books this year. My 3 top fantasy books were... So the first book is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. I love this book. I devoured this book. I have the Tandem Read left and I have the Kingdom of Ash left. And then I'm done with the entire Throne of Glass series, and I can just see that this will be my favorite series out of 2024. Like, no book or book series will ever match up because it's amazing. Like, the entire series is just so enchanting. I'm always on my toes. There's some tragedy in this series that I do not want to spoil, but I bawled my eyes out, so. My second favorite fantasy book was A Court of Silver Flames, also by Sarah J Maas. This book was everything and then some. I love Cassian and I love Nesta, and I know that a lot of people will be like, no, I hate Nesta. She was so mean. She just destroyed everything and she was just annoying, and who would want to relate to her character, blah blah blah. I loved her and I will support her. And I will support her until the day I die. She went through so much shit. Like, she almost died. She saved everyone, and everyone was so fucking ungrateful. Like, no one stopped for a minute and were like, yeah, she saved us all from dying. And I love her. And I love how Cassian never left her. Like, however many times she fucked up, like real bad, he did not leave her and he did not think about leaving her. He was always there and he supported her and he always took her side. So, my third favorite fantasy book was Powerless by Laura Roberts. This book, masterpiece. I saw this book on TikTok by the author before she released it, and I have been wanting to read that book ever since. And when she released this book, I ran to the bookstore. They all live in a city where everyone has powers, and if you don't have powers, you will be executed. And she doesn't have powers, but she pretends to have powers, like to be a psychic. She meets this prince, and the prince can sense everyone's powers since he can take after your powers. He can do the same. And he doesn't sense anything from her. It's just like, oh, that's just because I'm psychic. There's some tricks in my mind, so you won't be able to do the same thing. And he's like, oh, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. And then she gets invited to these trials, and she has to show everyone her powers and go against the prince and everything, but, you know, she doesn't because they're amazing together, and I love Kai. Like, oh, immaculate. Like, he's one of my top book boyfriends of the year. Then we have my top 3 dark romance books, and the first one was Her Soul to Take. I devoured this book. The way it was written, it was amazing. The FC moved to the small town where she grew up to this haunted ass house. And she was like, yeah, good idea, because I love the paranormal stuff that's going on in this town and this house. And she gets, or they try to abduct her and like sacrifice her to their god, this cult gang, with the help of a demon. They can control this demon since they have the grimoire, but she gets a hold of this. So now the roles are reversed. The second book is The Predator. This is probably my favorite dark romance, like, of every year. Like, it's amazing. I love this book. Like, the enemies to lovers, it was amazing. Like, she tried to kill him within the first chapter. I was intrigued. I couldn't stop reading. Like, I read, the couple has 2 books, and I read both books within 2 days. I was so in the story, and I loved the story, and I loved everything. Like, I don't have a single book about this book, and I love how she was like, no, he's trying to kill me, but yeah, I'm going to live with him. Hey girl, get a grip. Then we have the 3rd book, and it's Stephen King by Rena Kent. This book made everything tingle. Like, it was so fun. The couple has 3 books, and in the first book, she starts at this new extravagant school where all the rich people goes, and on the first day she meets Aiden on the football field, and he like takes her neck and just pushes her up against the wall and was like, I will make your life a living fucking nightmare. And she was like, oh, okay, why? What have I done to you? Like, when you heard that, why wouldn't you want to continue reading? Because you want to find out why he makes that threat and what she has done to make him feel like she deserves that. So, and then we have my top 3 romance books. First we have His Greatest Muse by Hannah Cohen. I could say rockstar romance. Do I have to say anything more? Like, she's a boxer and he's a rock star. He has one soft spot, and it's for her. Like, no one else. He even gets jealous when she speaks to her own dad. Like, that's a bit over the top, but like, that's attractive. Just in books. Like, if a man in real life would be jealous because I spoke to my dad, I would be like, oh, you can go and piss off. Because, no. But in the book, amazing. I cried because this is a 2nd gen series. And his parents, like, I love them. Oakley and Ava. They're one of my all-time favorite book couples. And he treated them so bad. But like, I understand because he had his own demons to fight with. And he had his own problems. And no one understood him. Except for Tiny. And I love when they all went on tour and she got so protective over him and she got so jealous, and I love, like, don't get me wrong, I love when the guy gets jealous, but I love when the girl does, because that's so much better. My 2nd book is Unravel Me by Becca Mack. Like, the entire series holds a such special place in my heart. Consider Me was one of my first ever hockey romances. And I had no interest in hockey dudes before, but when I read this series, I was like, oh, yeah, they're kind of cute, you know? Favorite character in this series is still Carter, the guy from the first book, because everything he says, I support it with my entire heart, and I love that I love when he wore, like, I love my girlfriend, like, when he was out on the road and played hockey, and I love that. And a girl tried to sit in his lap, and he just stood up. We're like, I have a girlfriend! I just love that. He didn't want to make her unsure of him. But then we came to Unravel Me. This book was amazing. Like, he has his own dog, and she has this dog. No, this dog is from the shelter. But yeah, you understand. And they went on a walk, and his dog just found her and jumped towards her, so she fell on the ground. And then he was like, oh, I'm so grateful for my dog because he led me to the most wonderful person in the entire world. And it was just cute. I love this book. It was amazing. And Becca Mack never misses. My 3rd favorite book is Identity. This book was my first ever rock star trope. This family moves next door. And she's like, oh, fun. And she starts her relationship with this guy. And she doesn't listen to music anymore because it was hers and her dad's, like, thing to do. So she doesn't know that the siblings in this family is a rock star group, and they're so fucking famous. And yeah, the older brother, he's the singer of the group, and I don't have words. Like, one thing, she's insecure because he has so many fans. So he posts a picture of her on his Instagram, like a spicy one, so that every fan will know that he's unavailable. I lived for it. So then we have 3 books that were not for me, And this is no hate to the authors. Just because I didn't like these books doesn't mean that you won't. Like, I can understand the appeal of the book, and I can understand why some people would love this book. So again, just because I don't like these doesn't mean you won't. First we have Minx by Sophie Lark. I love Sophie Lark. I love every single book that she has out except for this one. And it was one thing and one thing only that made me put this book down. I DNF'd this book. Like 80% through. She liked to dress as a kitten. No, he loved that. He loved when she was a kitten. Like licked her own hand and everything in this suit. And his nickname for her was Kitten. No. Like, come here, kitty cat. No. I think this book was a bit too fucked up for me, so still, I can understand the appeal. Like, I read 80% of the book, and like some scenes I enjoyed. Like, I love her writing and everything, but this was just not for me, so. Then we have Beach Read. I don't understand. Like, it's so hyped, but I don't understand. I DNF'd this book. I read 90%, and then I was just like, no. I didn't like the storyline. I thought it was so boring for me. I just don't get the appeal of two authors who have a romance together. Like, no. Like the romance between two authors, this would probably be for you. Then we have The Spanish Love Deception. And this is kind of controversial because I know that a lot of people love this book. I didn't. I just thought that it was boring, and it, like, the thing is, I didn't like this book. And it got me kind of sad. This book had so much potential to be like the best book ever. Like, it had the one bed trope, enemies to lovers, everything. But also the miscommunication trope. And like, he flew to Spain to be with her. Like, to save her ass. But it wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy this book. I enjoyed the second one. I love the second one. Then we have my top tropes of 2023. First, we have enemies to lovers. Like, when I read a book with enemies to lovers, I get all giggly and every single thing. Just like the angst and the tension. And when it's enemies to lovers, the small things matters. I don't care if they have their first kiss, or yeah, I do. I scream. I get more excited when it's a slow burn, enemies to lovers, and they touch hands for 2 seconds. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me now? I love enemies to lovers because it makes me all giddy. Then we have Forced Proximity. Who doesn't love when two people who hate each other has to live with each other? Or two people that kind of is attracted to each other but won't admit it for some reason. They're like, oh no, we need to stay with each other for 2 weeks in this small apartment. There's only one bed. Why wouldn't I love that? Like, that's amazing. And then we have Found Family. I love Found Family in series. I love it in single books too, but it's amazing in series because you really get to connect with all of the characters, and it's amazing. Then we have everything that has to do with marriage. Arranged marriage. Marriage of convenience. I love those because it usually starts with enemies to lovers, and or like some revenge plans, they don't like each other, everything like that. I love it. Then we have 3 books that absolutely crushed me, but then built me up again. We have Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. The feelings I felt while reading this book. Like, it's amazing. Then we have Archer's Voice. This book was a masterpiece. Just a fun read. Except for one scene where I broke down. How Bree moved to this small town, she meets Archer, and Archer, like, doesn't know anyone, or like everyone hates him, and because he doesn't hold the social standards or whatever, he just makes him love himself again and teach him how he's supposed to behave and how there's nothing wrong with him and how he will always be enough. I just love that, and I love this book. Then we have Hunting Adeline. I feel like we don't need to talk about what happened in this book. It's the second book, and if you want to read this book, please check trigger warnings because I didn't. Some of the stuff in here, like, you will break down. Like, it's not even fun to read about. And like, some scenes are so disturbing. But there were some beautiful scenes in this book too. Ah! Like when he went down on his knees and she just cried and everything. No, that sounded so wrong. There's not any spice in that scene. Yeah, I hope you understand. My top 3 book boyfriends. We have Cassian from A Court of Silver Flames. That's the word. I love him. I feel like I've talked about him already, and I feel like you would understand why he's in my top 3 book boyfriends of the year. Then we have Maddox from Her Greatest Mistake by Hannah Cohen. He could do no wrong in my eyes. He saved himself for her. Then we have St. Meadows. I know that he did some questionable things, but we don't talk about them here because I love him. He would do anything for Adeline, so I will hear no bad words about him on this channel, or I can. Like, we can have a little discussion match, because I know a lot of people just like him or the books, but I do, and I know it's kind of messed up, and I know that I should probably speak to a therapist, but I won't, because it makes me feel good. The end. That was my reading year of 2023. I thought that this was a more fun way to show more books, but like, I have a lot of books on my Kindle and I don't show them on my channel because then I have to like show you pictures, and I can't just take the book out of my bookshelf, and that feels annoying. So anyways, that was all I'm going to show you. I hope that you enjoyed my video, and I hope that my background didn't disturb you that much. I'm hoping you read a lot of books in 2024 and have a great reading year, and I will see you next time.